Solomon-St.Lewis, and I'm the executive chef and founder of Bacchanal Caribbean Lifestyle Foods in Ottawa, and I'm also the co-founder of Afrotecture in Ottawa. Yeah, so Bacchanal has been around for a couple of years, and we're focused on especially Caribbean lifestyle foods. So by that, we're doing traditional foods, but we're also kind of adapting and creating some of our Caribbean foods in our current context. So thinking about things like vegan options, gluten-free options, vegetarian, halal, low sugar, things that are especially responding to some of the current lifestyle and health and dietary issues and concerns of our day. And Afrotecture is actually a pandemic business, and we created it in December 2020. And the purpose of Afrotecture is to help people shop and discover Black Canadian artisans. Very, very significantly. So when we started, prior to COVID, with respect to Bacchanal, we had a small location where we did primarily a little bit of dine-in, but it was also the base of operations for catering, farmers markets, special events, things like that. We weren't doing too much takeout and delivery, but when COVID hit, because we were in a location that was primarily medical professional in terms of the building, the vast majority of the building kind of shut down or went home to work. And also what we found was that all of the external events that we were doing, like farmers markets and catering, those also came to a halt. So we were looking at overnight about somewhere around 85 to 90% of our revenue stream disappeared. And we seriously considered shutting down. But it took a day or two, because it couldn't really take too much longer to reflect on it, or so I thought. And really, I came up with a strategy to try my best to adapt, because that's something that, it's just important to be able to do that. And so we completely changed the nature of our business, and essentially within a couple of days had, a functioning website for takeout and delivery, ramped up our presence on Uber Eats and things like that, so that we could essentially be ready for people, for families that were no longer able to go to restaurants and needed to be able to order in. And so we specifically targeted our customers and some needs that we were anticipating as a result of the shutdown. So that's something, that flexibility and that adaptability is something that even though it's been exhausting, it's allowed Bacchanal to thrive through the changes of COVID. So when people came back to restaurants, we saw some of our traffic dip, because we were no longer dine-in, because we could not deal with the back and forth, open, close, etc., because we were a small location. And so we had converted completely to takeout, delivery, and eventually getting back into events. But essentially, that's what has allowed us to thrive. We're now expanding in that area, and we have a new location that allows us to do that. So it's increased our capacity, but we're thriving for sure. And with respect to Afrotecture, what I saw was that as a myself, I'm a Black Canadian food artisan, and what I noticed was that right around the holiday time of 2020, they started to allow certain types of events, but they were very restricted in terms of the numbers. A lot of grandfathering was happening, in that if you had a space before, first right of refusal, these kinds of things. And what I noticed was, even though I consider myself to be fairly established in that area, I was shut out. And I thought, well, if I'm shut out, there's going to be a lot of other artisans in our community that have been shut out. And that was really an accelerator for us to create Afrotecture. My sister and I had been wanting to do this for years, and we've even had the name for many years. But when we saw what was happening with the pandemic, and holiday time is a time for artisans to flourish, that's when we created Afrotecture. So it's a store in the Byward Market, and I should say it's Canadian, African, Caribbean, and Black artisans that are Canadian, and artisan companies. And so that's basically what is in our store. And so that gave so many people an opportunity to come and get their products in store, have a destination where people could come. We also do shipping. We do shipping across Canada and to the US and local delivery. So it was helping us to help them reach new markets as well as our own product. I think the two things, lessons learned: get your bookkeeping in order from the beginning, get it straight. I would also say that you want to try to make sure that you set a goal, you have your goals in place, you know what your priorities are, because on the one hand, you want to be able to be flexible, because COVID has taught us that things change. You have to always be flexible and ready to adapt. However, you don't want to get lost twisting in the wind, going after everything, because that may take you away from growing the way that you need to grow. So keep an eye on the focus, adapt and modify your direction where you need to, but be passionate, go for it. Resilience, I think it kind of, again, goes back to, I would say, first of all, resilience is a word that everybody who's a member of the Black community, I think we're born with that. That's already, in our roots, in our genes, to be resilient. We're here because of the resilience of our ancestors, and it's important for us to remember that, tap into that. I mean, you can do it. So a lot of resilience to me, being able to succeed or persevere in the face of challenge, but also to be innovative and creative, crafty, so that when you're faced with challenges, you can try and figure out a different solution so that you can continue. I think that that's something that comes to us naturally, and something that, especially as members of a visible minority group, we're constantly facing challenges, and I think that resilience is something that we can handle.